What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Toya and Regina. This is season 2, episode 1. The episode is titled Expensive Little Things, or Expensive Little Secrets, I think. And let's get right into it. So this episode starts off with Toya meeting up with her bestie, Danielle. And they're just kind of catching up. Now, at first, they're talking about how they both want to lose weight. And, Toya want to work out in the gym. However, Danielle wants to go under the knife. And baby, then we get to the nitty gritty because Casey has acted up yet again, okay? They had this big festival in New Orleans and Toya was on a float and it was a good time, good event. Everybody got good energy. Oh, but baby, Casey decided to show up and show out in a bad way. Now, the way Toya describes it, she says that, everybody was having a good time. This was a big deal for her because they let her be the queen of the parade or something like that. And she even had her mom there. And she just wanted her mom to experience it, have a good time, because let's be honest, her mom has been through a lot. And it's good that her and her mom are still building that relationship. Now, one thing that confused me was that Toya was like, he basically bum rushed his way onto the float saying he was going to get on the float. And my only question is, so initially, Toya, did you just invite him to the event to be like, hey, I'm going to be on a float, but you can't get on? Or like, what was the invitation? Or is this a situation where he probably found out from your mama that y'all was gonna do this whole float thing and he wanted to be on the float as well? Because for some reason, when it comes to Toya and her siblings feel like whatever Toya gets, they're supposed to have as well. That's the only part that's a little iffy for me, because I just want to know what was the context of him being on the float or not being on the float. Now, Toya, she even brings up the fact that her other two brothers, they actually got murdered in this particular area of New Orleans. So, maybe Casey might have been overwhelmed with emotion because of that. And at the end of the day, he still beats himself up because he was in jail when they got murdered. And honestly, Casey, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, what could you have possibly done? You know what I'm saying? Because then they get, shot up. And I'm not trying to be, rude or anything, but if I'm not mistaken, people shot at them. I just want to know, did you think that you could possibly have saved them or something? Because worst case scenario, you could have been with them and you couldn't be here to live another day. I'm not even trying to be funny at all, but it's you got to think about the entire situation. I understand you miss your brothers, but you can't keep beating yourself up about how you weren't there and acting up and acting out because you weren't there for your brothers. Because like I said, at the end of the day, baby, bullets, they fly. And if you would have been with them, you could have been shot as well. So now at this point, Toya has him blocked like she always do. She got this man blocked on everything. Now we actually jump over to Casey, and he's meeting up with some old man by the name of Clarence, and he's supposed to be this family friend. All right, cool. So Casey goes on to tell him I'm not really rocking with Toya right now because of everything that went down in New Orleans. And the man was like, so what happened? And the only thing that Casey can say is that he was drunk and how he was drinking real liquor. He don't know what happened. Y'all, that man was so toe up. It's very clear that he don't know how he was acting, how he was reacting, how he was responding towards everybody. Clearly, he has a drinking problem. Because when that man said he drank a whole bottle of Don Julio, sir, go get help. That's the first part. Secondly, he's sitting up here talking about how, I've done so much dirty stuff in that neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. Well, that means that number one, you shouldn't have been here. Okay? Sometimes you've done so much bad stuff in certain areas and you don't need to go revisit it. Okay? That's the first thing. Secondly, you're not about to sit up here and tell us that, I had so much trauma over there. Sir, you were on a float and it was a celebration. Happy moments. Nobody thinking about your trauma. How dare you say that your sister owes you an apology? Are you okay? Well, I know you're not. I know you're not okay. But my whole thing is this. Toya was trying to be nice, okay? She invites you out to come to this parade. Again, a parade is what? A big celebration. Listen, you and your trauma, if you couldn't handle it, baby, stay home. That don't mean to pick up the liquor bottle. So we end up jumping back over to Toya, and basically she feels like she needs to go ahead and cut him off and love him from a distance. I absolutely agree with that. Here's the thing. Her friend Danielle brought up a really good point about Toya. Toya treat her family like they're her kids, and sometimes her family act like they're kids. But here's the thing. Ever since Toya was with Wayne, her family has expected for her to carry them this entire time. Like, seriously, ever since she was Wayne's baby mama, there's this expectation that whatever Toya has, whatever success she reaches, she has to carry the whole family with her. And that's completely unfair to her. It is. We have seen it ever since, what was that show, Tiny and Toya? Yeah, if we go all the way back to Tiny and Toya, it's been like that. And honestly, I feel bad for Toya because at the end of the day, she's really only responsible for herself and her children. Well, and her husband now. But the rest of these people, no, she's not responsible for y'all. Like, we've seen her try to put her mom through rehab. We've seen her try to help her brothers. And they want her to continuously fight their life battles. And that's not cool. So Danielle decides to go ahead and switch the conversation, right? And they start talking about Regina. And baby, I don't know what world Regina is living in, but I'm gonna need for her to come back to reality. Because Toya was like, she's spending so much money. Like, she spends like $18,000 to $20,000 per month on rent. Y'all, on rent in LA? Like, I know that LA is expensive. I'm from there. I live there. Like, I'm trying to understand, where is Regina living that she's spending that amount of money? Because I know for sure she can get something at least half the price and she'll be living fine. Okay? Regina, what is going on here? I know you make your own money, but why are you spending that kind of money on rent? Like, I'm surprised that Wayne don't have a house in LA somewhere. I really am. I'm kind of surprised that he don't have a house in LA that he just let her live in. Because, I'm sorry, I cannot imagine paying $20,000 per month. I'm an influencer. And at the end of the day, like, you done spent well over $200,000 in rent in 1 year. That's crazy. And then Toya goes on to explain how, Regina, when she's with her friends, all they doing is hanging out, going out to eat, doing all of this stuff. And it's cool because these girls are young and they living. But baby, that's really not the way to live. Because y'all are spending so much money now. What are you going to have for your future? Now, speaking of Regina, we actually see her and her homegirls. She has a little crew out there. It's her, India, who is Lil Durk's baby mama. I think she's his girlfriend as well. And who else was in the group? Oh, Taina. We know her. She is G Herbo's baby mama. Fabulous and Emily's daughter. Well, Fabulous's stepdaughter. And then she also has her homegirl, Asia, who she grew up with. Now, I will say I do like the fact that Regina has found her tribe. She found her little girl gang, and they can always hang out together. Because I feel like a lot of people who come to LA, they get here, they don't have friends, they don't have family, and they get kind of lost in the sauce. But Regina, girl, y'all out here shopping, and baby, we didn't see nobody else really picking up no clothes but you, okay? She done spent another $400 in this store. Girl just spending money just because, okay? Must be nice. Now, we jump back over to Toya, and she's like, you know what? Let's just pop up on Regina. they come up with this idea that they're going to go to LA to go see her and check in on her. And she does end up texting Regina to be like, yo, I'm thinking of coming to LA because we miss you and all this stuff. And Regina is cool with it. Now, speaking of Regina, we also see her and her homegirls go to Yamashiro's. I have been there before. It was been a while, but I will say that I did like Yamashiro's. They have a really great view of the city. The food's good. Here's the thing. So they start ordering some food, right? First of all, Toya already knew what she wanted. She was like, I want this, 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 and this. And as they're sitting there at that table, one thing that I will say is that I can tell that India is a little bit uncomfortable. And not in a, like, a bad way, but, like, you can tell that she is not exactly comfortable being on camera just because she's, like, so fidgety. I'm just like, girl, it's cool. You chilling. You fine. But back to the story at hand. The girls, they just kind of chit-chat a little bit. And they just want to know how Nay feels about being in LA. She loves it, okay? Like, she really loves being in LA. However, it's very expensive. You know what I mean? And she's still trying to be on her grind, okay? One thing that I will say is that Regina, she does try her best to, like, do this whole acting thing. She goes on her auditions and all that jazz because, I mean, she's in a few things. I think it may all be on Tubi, but hey, it's something. So I can't knock her. The only thing that I can say is that, baby, you about to be in a world of a lot of competition because there's a lot of people who are in LA who want to be actors. And honestly, if you've been following what's going on with the TV and movie industry, hell, a lot of stuff is actually moving to Atlanta. So, girl, you may be going back there for work. But back to the scene. Now, the girls end up asking Regina, like, girl, what's up with you? Because you've been MIA. And basically, who's your man? We heard you got a man. Who is this man? So Regina says she ain't, telling everybody who he is. Her man is Wizard Kelly. We only see him from the body down. And she's going to keep it that way. Honestly, I think that's the best thing for Regina. Because we saw how when things went bad with her and Armand, she was posting. And I think she's actually learned her lesson from that. She doesn't want to, put the public all in her business. So I'm glad that she's deciding to keep this relationship under wraps. And she also made sure to tell us that she is not with Armand. They tried again, but maybe it did not work. One thing that I will say is that seeing this scene was actually very refreshing because I feel like on the first season, we didn't really get to see much of Regina being in her element, a young girl out here, and her hanging with her homegirls. I feel like we didn't see that much in season 1, but I do like this vibe. Like, I feel like this is like one of the elements that's missing from reality TV, and that is girls who are in their 20s just living their life and just out and about in the city. Like, very much, what was that show when it was Angela and Vanessa Simmons? Like how they were just around and about in LA. That's the vibe that I'm getting when I see Regina and her homegirls. But moving on. So Toya and Danielle, they have made it to LA. Now, when I saw this house that they were in, I said, oh, now I understand why Regina is spending $18,000 to $20,000. Because number one, of her location. Number two, girl, do you really need all this house? But then I gotta remember, Regina also had her own house when she was in Atlanta. So it's not like she was ever an apartment girly to begin with. So maybe she does need all this space. Nonetheless, they were briefly talking about breakfast, but Toya got serious real quick when she was like, listen, Regina, you are spending a lot of money. And to my shock, Regina was like, yeah, I have been. Okay, she admitted it. She knows she's going overboard with the spending, but she also talks about how, she's just living her life. She's traveling. She's doing all this stuff. And they like, well, who you traveling with? Because you ain't traveling solo. And she's basically telling them like, well, I be going places with somebody, but I just don't post them. And you know what? I love that for you, Regina. So basically, Toya wants to know a little bit more information about this person, but Regina is keeping it under wraps, okay? And I feel like she's only keeping it under wraps because of the show. I'm pretty sure Toya has met this person and, it's all good. So then we talk about how she's spending so much money on rent. Like, Toya liked the house that she got right now, but girl, I feel like if you're going to be paying all this rent, you might as well try to buy a place. The only thing about it is that living in LA, like, buying a place is so expensive. And considering where Regina is probably living, it's going to cost a couple of $1,000,000 versus what she can get in Atlanta. I mean, a fraction of the cost. And speaking of Atlanta, well, Regina says that she may be willing to go back home, okay? Just for a little bit until she figures out where she actually wants to stay. I mean, I think it'd be cool if she bi-coastal, honestly. So, baby, they go look at this house, right? House is fire. Like, the house is super duper nice. And it's $4.2 million. Crazy amount of money. But, like I said, the house is stunning. Do I think Regina is ready for a house like that? No, especially considering it's 5 bedrooms and it's only her. That's a lot of house for one person. So they sit down and have this conversation about how Walter has gotten out of jail. And we all know that Walter is Toya's older brother. If y'all remember her show back in the day, he used to be on the show. And if I'm not mistaken, I do remember her brother Rudy being there. But I don't remember her other brothers being on the show back in the day. I can't remember. Is that streaming anywhere? Nonetheless, basically she's trying to figure out if she's going to invite Casey to the welcome home party because she's thinking about having it at her house, but she don't want that man at her house. And honestly, girl, have it somewhere else. Honestly, have his welcome home party at a park. That way it's an open space. Anybody can come. Now, y'all, speaking of Walter, we go over to him rapping in the booth, okay? And I am so confused at where this is happening. Because you got Toya mama, she there. She out here cooking potato salad. And I'm like, well, whose house are we in that they got a recording studio in one of the bedrooms? Like, is this Nina's house? It can't be Nina's house. Or is she just cooking in these people's establishment? What's happening? So we got Walter and his mama sitting down talking, and we learned that he did 9 years in jail. His daughter is now 14 years old. I'm like, ooh-wee, that's a long time to not be in your child's life. And this man went on to tell this story, and baby, I got a little confused. Y'all let me know where I missed what was happening. He said that at one point, his mama took a charge and went to jail, right? He had to drop out of school to take care of his little brothers. I mean, I'm guessing that Toya, maybe she was with her father's side of the family. Not really sure there, but because he didn't mention her. But he said that he was robbing and stealing and doing all these things to put food on the table because he was super young. He couldn't even get a job. He was like 11, 12 years old. I said, now, whoa. How did y'all all get put into protective services? Where was the foster care system for y'all? Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but like, who was doing the paperwork back in the day? If the parent goes to jail, who did y'all think had the rest of her kids? I know y'all didn't just leave it to the 12-year-old. Or is it that when she got picked up, her kids weren't around? So I'm going to assume that they said that they lived with somebody else and he was actually the person who was providing for the kids. I just need a little bit more clarity. Now, they decided to talk about Casey, right? And baby, Walter says that Casey got some issues for sure, okay? He going through a lot. But at the same time, Casey got to get it together. Okay, he goes on to say, it's a lot of people who got mental issues and all of this stuff. And Anita is like, yeah, because maybe he can try like some type of like medication. Oh, baby, Walter said he don't need no medication. We gonna try it Walter way. Because according to Walter, he can get through to Casey. I said, well, baby, we gonna see what happens. So in the next scene, we actually see Toya, Regina, Regina homegirls, they all go to the beach or whatever. And what was interesting to me is everybody's outfits. Okay? Like, nobody was dressed like they were going to the beach. But I digress. So, at one point, they end up asking India about her kids and how old they are. And I believe she said that they were 5 and 9. For some reason, I thought that her kids were younger than that, just because she seemed so young. But whatever. They end up talking about Regina, okay, and if she's in love or not. And this girl's like, I don't want to talk about that, but I do know that, you know that you love somebody if when you look at their eyes that you see yourself. And it's like, girl, you must really, really, really like this man. Now, what I found to be interesting was that India was like, just wait till the honeymoon phase is over. And honestly, I kind of felt bad for her in that moment, just because I'm like, yo, I know she got to be stressed out and going through it right now, because ain't Dirk in jail? Like, I know her whole world probably flipped upside down. But back to the story at hand. The ladies, they are, just having small talk. They talk about red flags and how some women like red flags, but maybe Regina said she'll be out the door. And they just continue on with this beach day. Now, let's go back to Atlanta, because Toya ends up going back home and she's spending some time with her daughter, Rain. And Rain is over here putting makeup on Toya, and it's just a really cute scene. Now, while she's playing with Rain, Toya feels like maybe she can have another baby, but here's the thing. She would have to get another surgery. So her and Red, they're still kind of dealing with that situation to see what she wants to do. Now, speaking of Red, we actually see Toya go talk to him basically about her brother, Walter, him getting out of jail, and how, she's happy for him, but she does reflect on the fact that they were not always in a good place. Like, they clashed a lot, when they were younger, and hopefully, now that they're older, the relationship can be better. So, at this point, Toya feels like, with Walter being out of jail, this is going to kind of shift the family, because he's also very strong in the sense of he gonna get the family together. Like, he gonna be on top of Anita to be like, girl, no, you can't be out here in these streets. No, you can't be out here doing drugs. No, you can't be drinking like that. And also, maybe he can help with Casey and all his problems. So, I guess Toya must have heard me when I said that she needed to have this family event at a park. Because she's like, yeah, we're going to have a celebration for Walter coming home at the park down the street. And baby, once she said that Casey was invited, Red said he ain't coming. I said, oh, wow. And what surprised me even more is that Red was like, both of y'all played a part, referring to Toya and Casey. And he's like, I ain't with all that. Now, one thing that I will say, I appreciate the fact that he called out both of them, as in, yes, Casey was acting a fool, but Toya, maybe you may have said something or did something that wasn't cool as well. At least Red is very fair. But let's go ahead and move on. So we get Danielle and Beatty meeting up, and basically Beatty says that things are pretty much going well for her right now, because now she's going to be a DJ. I'm all for DJs. I'm all for female DJs specifically. So good for her. Now, baby, this is where things get a little rocky, because we learned that she's no longer with her boyfriend, Ricky. Okay? They broke up. However, who is still there? Mel. She is back with Mel, and they're in a good place. And baby, we all know that the family don't like Mel. So at this point, Danielle is like, well, you gotta tell your sister and all of this stuff. But it's given that Beatty don't really care. Like, Beatty does not care what Toya thinks or what anybody else thinks, or Regina or whatever, because at the end of the day, she has to live her life for herself. And here's the thing. Sometimes your family members, they will date people that you don't agree with, but they gotta learn, if that person ain't for them, they gotta learn it on their own. They not just gonna listen to you. Now, I will say that Danielle has a point, because she's like, Beanie and Toya, they have come a long way with their relationship. However, Toya may feel some type of way when she does find out that this girl is back with Mel, because Beanie actually lives with Toya. I did not think that she still lived there. I thought that she moved out and was doing her own thing. But y'all, let's go ahead and get to the celebration for Walter coming home, okay? So everybody's slowly piling in to get there to this park or whatever. And when Anita came in, I said, baby, what is going on with her? Like, the way she hugged Toya, from her talking about her being gay. I said, wait, when was that? Like, what's happening right now? And then she talked about she, like, had her nose pierced for, like, 30 years. I'm like, this is a lie. Ma'am, have you been drinking? Like, what is going on? So then she ends up bringing up the fact that it's supposed to be Rudy's birthday tomorrow. So we all know that Rudy is Toya's younger brother that got murdered, right? So at this point, number one, Nita is all over the place, okay? Just yapping. What's she talking about, child? We don't know. Toya over here trying to keep her mouth closed and hold it together. She really want to just go ahead and leave. But she trying to hold it together till Walter get there. It got to the point where she calls Walter and tells him, like, when you gonna get here? Because your mama over here acting a fool. So, honestly, in that moment, I did feel bad for Toya, because you try to put something together and you thought that Casey was going to be the one that was going to act a fool, because he's usually the one acting up, and now it's your mama. Like, that's crazy. And then on top of that, like, you sit up here trying to do something nice for the family like you're always trying to do, yet the way that your mother is acting is triggering you to how she used to be probably when she was on drugs back in the day. So at this point, Casey, he shows up, and that is where the episode leaves off. I feel like this is going to be a really good season, fingers crossed, and we shall see what happens. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.